for everybody who's watching this live or watching the replay, I mean, self-trust, doing what you say you're going to do, can can be a small act. It could be as little as when you set your alarm the night before and you say, like, I'm getting up at 6 or 5:30 or whatever time that you're deciding to get up, like, you get up and you don't hit the snooze. That's one, like that that's one tiny act that you can be like, you can get up out of bed when you hit the alarm and just be like, you know what? See, I said I was going to get out of bed at this time, and I'm out of bed at this time. Look, I've got evidence that I can trust myself.
Bingo. I love that you added that because it is small step after small step. And because fear will throw so many things at us, we'll feel that overwhelm. And we conquer fear by taking the big and making it small. So it is, I'm setting the alarm for 5:30. I am getting up. And when you get up, I think this is also a really critical component. Pat yourself on the back.
Yes.
Give yourself a little celebration. Give yourself a little bit of like, I did this, I kick ass. Because then all of a sudden we're starting to leverage our brain's natural reward system, and we get that little shot of dopamine. And we're all a bunch of little dopamine fiends. So now we're going to start looking for other ways that we can, achieve that. And we can leverage that all the way to reinventing our life and creating something new. So I thank you for adding that.
Yeah.
What I think is really important here, Craig, that you mentioned is the process of getting to this area of finding yourself worthy and forgiveness is building that trust. And then really that's what it comes down to, right? Because when we make these mistakes, what we've done is we've broken trust. We've broken the trust between the people that we've offended, the companies, the careers, the family, it doesn't matter. But that's really essentially where the hurt comes from. And like you mentioned, is when we start down that path, way before in breaking little areas of trust with ourselves, and it starts to snowball and it gets bigger and bigger, and we know that we've entered into this area. And so unfortunately, when these mistakes happen, the guilt, the shame, and the blame are very serious because we knew we had broken trust with ourselves first, right? And I just find this such a critical aspect. And it looks like you got something you want to say on this, and I want to hear it. I definitely want to hear it. But I just want to thank you for bringing this back to the attention, because before anything else can happen, we have to establish trust in ourselves again. And I love that you make that mention in that comment. And Lorianne with the aspect of, listen, just say you're going to get up when you get up, and then do it. And then Craig, give yourself the reward of saying, great job, you did it. Now let's do it again. But the thing is the fact that this is how we start the process of trusting ourselves again. That's huge. I think that's such an important aspect for people to really understand.
It really is. And the part that I was jumping on, I'm going to be like so pedantic here, but I think it's extremely important because it speaks to accepting responsibility. You used the word mistake. I think a mistake is putting sugar on your eggs instead of salt. It's very inadvertent, and it sucks when you do it. A choice is something deliberate and intentional. And I think that understanding that delineation, I'm a member of a white collar support group. We meet every Monday night. And a lot of the folks, depending on where they are through their journey, people are like, this shouldn't happen to me because I made a mistake. And some people will live in that. They'll live in that mistake forever. And to me, that is pointing the finger elsewhere. When we understand that we make a choice, that's where we really seize agency over our life. So that's
such a great. Yeah, no, that is honestly that's a great analogy to the words, because you talk about that right in the beginning. Part of this process was accepting responsibility and accepting the choice. And you're right, it's not the mistake, because you're right. Like I made a cake once actually with salt instead of sugar. If you want to, it was a true story, right? So it was. I'm glad it was horrible, right? But the thing is,
I got
that
so
was
many
a
questions
mistake,
about that.
right? That was a mistake. They look the same. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it was a long time ago. I was young, and I'm sure alcohol was involved at some point,
but
right? But
I,
go ahead,
I
Lorianne,
turned
please,
my
please.
clothes pink. I've turned my clothes pink in the wash because I threw a red thing, in
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
but
These are mistakes. I
we
think
all
that that's powerful. Words matter, right, Lorianne? I mean,
they
words
do
matter,
matter.
especially in a specific situation like this, where we're talking about pulling yourself out of a situation, taking responsibility to the situation you're in, to the choices that you made. All of these functions can easily just get thrown right out the window when we move to the next stage and we say, well, but this was a mistake versus it was a choice, because we know it. Like we said, you were already giving up your own moral grounds, and you were already crossing those little boundaries that were starting to get you down the path. And then when these choices are made and the results happen, and then you're left with the after effect. Like you said, you destroyed your entire life. So you couldn't say this was a mistake. You may have in the beginning, but then you said, no, this was a choice. This
Oh,
was a
I
choice,
absolutely did.
right?
The
Okay.
string of
Oh, I
choices.
absolutely did. Oh, yeah. I used the mistake word left and right. And it
Okay.
was
Yeah.
one of the most liberating moments when I realized that I made a conscious choice. And I think, not to belabor this point, but I think it's important. A mistake can oftentimes lead us to victimhood.
Mhm.
And when we understand that we made a choice, it could be a terrible choice and have consequences such as going to prison. But I was operating in a sense out of agency because I made that choice. And when we understand that everything is a choice, we really do seize that agency. And I think if we want to reinvent our lives, if we want to live lives that are uh, deep, rich, meaningful, purposeful, fulfilling, having that sense of agency is absolutely critical. And one of the ways that I did that was stepping out of victimhood.